Testing. And hello. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Coaching Journey with Jola here, Jola Pypno-Crapanzano, with unbelievable guests, my friends, just from like across couple towns over from my home state, New Jersey, Trisha Terns. Welcome, Trisha. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this today.
I'm excited more than you know. Guys, me and Trisha are both a fellow certified high performance coaches, but Trisha has so many more titles behind the name than I do even. Trisha actually is a fitness guru, you know. She is a certified pro sports trainer. She is a CrossFit trainer with so many different, categories of CrossFit. I don't know much about it, but I tell you this much, that she knows what the hell she's doing in those gyms. Trisha also runs her own company called Be Here Now LLC, where she helps the entrepreneurs, align their schedules, her busy lifestyles with the calendar, with the freedom, right? You try to make this all happen together. And together with her partner, they run also Strong Together a fitness business, where obviously they help people to get to the best, strongest lifestyles, health, and so on. Today, obviously, the situation is the way it is, and we have to deal with online activities. So
Oh
she'll
my
tell
gosh,
you how
yes.
important it is to be able to go and pivot from physical to online. Trisha, welcome. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Having you on, I need to make sure that I'm on my A game, because she's a queen of social media, guys, and I need to be sure that I welcome everybody on my Facebook page so nobody gets,
Yes.
yeah. So yes, hello, whoever's watching us right now, welcome, guys. Please drop below your names, where you're from, and if you're watching this on replay, tell us also where you're joining from. I want to tell you guys, we're going to talk about Trisha's area of genius, and yes, she is phenomenal at her work. But the reason I invited her today is because she's one of the 3 people in my life that actually had a very close contact with the actual pandemic, right? It wasn't her who got sick, it was her partner. However, it is so important to know that we need to pull these positive things, the optimistic, happy endings, that it's not always dark, not always gloomy, not always ending in a worst case scenario. That's why I brought her here, because she has a good story for us. So before we go there, Trisha, I mentioned before, you are a certified high performance coach, and this time right now, more than ever, people need what we do, right? Bring them up, lift them up, help them, show them that there is other way. Tell me, how are you right now helping your clients with your expertise?
Great question. Well, really, the biggest component is leadership. Is always driving straight to the core of the solution, which is leadership. We need role models to step up into a leadership role. And a lot of people don't consider themselves leaders, but they are. And so we have to be able to recognize where that's at and put that into play in the home space, right? That's the core of it, because the immediate people that you touch have a lasting impact on their journey through this quarantine, which doesn't need to be bad, right? It can be very positive. There's a lot of opportunities happening right now. But because of the emotional distress, and because not everybody, the majority of people of the world don't consider themselves leaders, the people that are working with us, they do, and we need them to be at the next level. So I'm just driving that home, adopting a role model mindset, and really setting a new standard in terms of what their identity is as a leader.
Yeah, that's so cool. And another important thing is, like, if you can right now help people understand that there is a better way of dealing with the situation, that there is time to grow, time to skill up, time to really be grateful for what we have, understand the stuff that perhaps we were not aware of matters more than we have. Just things like that. We are these guiding lights, right? Amazing. And like I mentioned, you run a very particular business of fitness. And me coming from that 5 years ago, from the wellness fitness, where everything was online then, now I see how important it is to have that opportunity to do this online. You're running workshops, you're running workouts, you're running all kinds of trainings. Tell us about this. How you pivot to online completely from the gyms.
Yeah, well, this is really important for any business, not just a gym business, right? Because one thing that I've been really stressing when it comes to my high performance clients as well, and that I'm stressing because I'm now coaching the coaches and coaching our owners of our license program, is that the clients that we do have are no longer the same client, right? We're not teaching and training the same clients because they're in a place of unsafety. They don't feel safe, right? They feel
Yes.
emotionally distressed. They are scared. They are asking themselves, what if, what if, what if? It's not, you have to be able to not just be a trainer, but you need to be able to coach. And so I'm teaching them some of the ways that I coach so that they can work better one-on-one with their clients and keep them long-term. Now, the people in the gyms, because I work with so many different fitnesspreneurs, if you will,
Yes.
and we have so many business consultants and things that we work with that work with a lot of gyms. And what we've seen across all of like the gym world is that if you did not shift within 4 to 5 days, you probably lost about 25 to 50% of your business within the first week of this. And that can completely derail an entire business, right? That can put a complete zeroed out, going into debt, right? Completely gone. Their business is gone. So the fact that we shifted really quickly was very positive. And I attribute that to my partner, Ben, because we couldn't have done it without him. He spent diligent time up in the middle of the night for nights on end to get this program running, which we're calling the hybrid program. So we ran a challenge, and we also have this program that we run, but we're in a challenge right now as well, which has been really fun with a lot of our clients from all 6 locations, where they're doing this challenge where there's points involved and there's all sorts of different things, like they're going to have to eat blindfolded soon, like doing all these cool things like with their families. We're getting their families involved. So it's been really fun. And this program itself, the goal of it,
people want to do something like that when you have when you're together, and also it's not boring, it's not that predictable stuff. Congratulations. So awesome.
Yeah, that's been going really good. And so with that, the goal of it was to make sure that when they come back into their home base and we have our actual gym back and we can come in and see one another, that those people are in better shape than when they left. Yes. So that was the goal. And I think we've really taken it up a notch, and our coaches are learning a lot about the virtual world. Yes, it's stressful. I won't lie. They're stressed out. They're overwhelmed to an extent, but they're starting to get in line with really routines and rituals that are going to make them successful.
But I always try to bring this home, how everything is interconnected in our work, right? Like in certified high performance coaching, we bring this element of physiology, how it's connected to psychology and all of it. Now, for those people who do the physiology piece on daily basis, you try to make them stronger and be more resilient with everything, right? So it's amazingly beautifully connected. But one thing that comes to mind is that doing all this work, I congratulate you on that quick action you took, right? And again, it comes from what you trained for years, right? Know when something is happening on the horizon, you're not gonna just ignore the symptoms. You're not gonna go into denial. Oh, it's not happening. It's not. You immediately took action. And I gotta tell you, I know someone who didn't, and right now is bankrupt. Literally bankrupt, had to file for bankruptcy. Similar situation. It was within days, boom, the whole thing was gone. And it's crazy, right? But
it's really sad. I feel for them.
Yes, I feel too, and I have to say, whoever, but my thing is, whoever, and our mentors tells us, you made it once, you can be completely out, you will always rebuild it. Again, it comes from all that knowledge that we actually have. And we even got this amazing message from our mentor, Bruno Bouchard, the other day. He said that he's so proud that all that group of elite certified high performance coaches, we are right now are like people don't understand how can we be so positive, motivated, doing things we're doing when everybody else is falling apart, right? How cool is that? I love it so much.
Oh my gosh, amen to that.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's so uplifting and it's so motivating to see that you're not alone. And we put together workshops, we put together all kinds of different calls, and it's like a cooperation, amazing stuff. But I promise my viewers that even though I admire your work beyond, the core reason for this call was to show people that even being face to face with this evil corona, which I try not to even mention that name in my shows because that's repelling for me, right? Yet this way we cannot avoid it. That's the reality. So my friends, Trisha did not get sick herself, which is amazing because she actually lived with her partner Ben, who was sick. So she will teach us how she went through it, because by the way, as a caveat, he is well, he's already out of this worst case scenario. He is good. So we can now talk freely how they overcome the situation. But I want to bring this home. Like, you were guys traveling to your families in Michigan, right? You went first, he was supposed to join and he never did. So please take it from here and give us the whole story.
Yeah, we had planned a trip to Michigan. I left early. We decided both to drive because we had a feeling this was going to happen within that time frame, and it hit as soon as I got there. It hit, and so Ben putting together that hybrid program and really like ramping up the gyms to go virtual. He was here working diligently, and I stayed in Michigan for a couple of weeks monitoring my folks. My mom had lymphoma last year, so she is in no shape to be exposed to something like that. So just getting them in gear and getting them some, rituals and routines going. She's walking with a neighbor lady. That's the only lady that we allow her to go with. And so anyway, I come back, I drive home after 2 weeks home in Michigan. I drive home to New Jersey home, and it's a 10-hour drive. So I was pretty tired when I got in, but nonetheless, I open the door with all bags in hand, and I look at the top of the stairs because we have a bi-level, and Ben just looks down at me and he is sweating. He has no smile on his face, and he is like, I have a fever. You can't get near me.
What?
And I was like,
you're like, what? 10 hours of drive? It's like an overseas flight. You are done of fright, and that's not.
Oh my God. It was crazy. So I immediately got a second wind.
Yeah, adrenaline kicked in.
Yeah. You go into survival mode, right?
Yeah,
All of a sudden you cinch up and you're like, shit, excuse my French, but we got to act right now. And anytime a crisis mode comes up, and this is something I want to hit home for everyone, I've been in crises before, because crises can be anything, right? Like when my mom got sick in lymphoma, I was gone out of here. My team did the gym, ran everything while I was gone. I didn't touch work for 23 days in the hospital with her. Like, that was crisis mode. She was going to die, right? But the way that I have handled it and conditioned myself to handle it is sometimes over control. I will give you that. Sometimes it's too much, but I take control immediately of the situation without emotion, because I need to make sure that every moving piece has safety in some form, that my mom had what she needed, that the doctors knew exactly what was going on. I wanted to make sure that there was a conscious mind there to be objective about what was going on. I'll deal with my emotions at some point, right? And through the process, I will. Yeah. But the same thing when I realized he was sick, right? And I just had a friend in Michigan whose colleague passed away at 42 with 3 kids that had no signs of anything, that died of the virus. So that was in my head immediately, right? So I immediately called, thank God for functional medicine doctors and all the doctors out there. I honor you. I respect the work that you do. Because I am a member at Palm Health in Morristown, they have an on-call doctor always. And so I happened to, and you'll love this because this connects very well. I called the on-call doctor just to get information on where I could go to get him tested if it came to that, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have, well, I'll walk you through that. So I called this doctor and I'm like, what do I do? Where can I go? Those were my questions in my head. But right when the person answered, she was in the grocery store. So she said, call me right back. I'll be out in 10 minutes. So I called her back, and it happened to be an old member from Strong Together Chester. Wow. And a member that was with me only for a short time, but her and her husband are both doctors, both in the medical field. And it was just too much to do a membership at the time. And here we are reconvening, so she gave me her personal cell phone number and said that since Ben's not a member, even though he's not and you are, I will work to write a script out if he needs it to get tested, because he is technically a member, but he doesn't have a doctor there.
Right.
So that was really positive for me. I was like, people are giving me right now exactly what I need in a time of crisis.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And I want to just bring one thing, like we are surrounded about information on corona and COVID for like a month now, right? People know symptoms, people know
Yes.
this, people know.
Yes.
When something strikes this close to you, to your heart, to your loved ones, you forget all of this. Now you are like what the hell do I do next? So the first thing is you call the doctor. You know there's no cure, and yet you call the doctor. What do I do? Give me the cure, right? How crazy is that?
Yes, for me, it's about collecting information, right? So I wanted to know where are the spots that I can go to get tested, so that if he does still have a fever tomorrow, I can take him and I know exactly where I'm going to be able to get him tested.
Right.
Because here's the thing is he was in our Elmwood Park location for a total of about 2 hours on the day that the governor shut down all gyms. So we had to be out by 8 o'clock. He was there in the last 2 hours to close up shop. That gym has been open for 15 years. It is a 24-hour gym. It has never shut its lights off, ever. So he had to look and find the lights to shut off the lights at the gym. But anyway, somebody came in at the last seconds with gloves and a mask on, wanting to cancel their membership, and said that they thought that they had the virus. And within 4 days, 3 to 4 days, all 3 people that were in there, coaches, Ben, and one of our sales guys, they all got the same illness, same symptoms, all were out in bed for 3 days, all had a fever.
Wow.
All of them.
And the crazy thing is that the person who came in had gloves and a mask, right?
So here's the thing though, we did keep in contact with him. So It was good because he did go to get checked out, and he was younger. He was in his late 30s. And he did not technically have it, but it was so contagious, and it was so many of the symptoms. Like Ben had chest pains on Saturday night, and that was my last straw. I said, if you feel like this tomorrow, we're going in, right? So he did not, though. He started to come out of it, but he could not get out of bed for 3 days. I mean, he's a 6'4", 230, 40-pound guy, right? Like it wiped him out completely.
Yeah.
Body aches that he described are things that he's never experienced before, he said.
That's exactly how some people say that it's something so excruciating, and that shallow problems with breathing and the fever, and completely knocks you out, right? And especially it's so telling when you, like you say, like a large body, and normally know how strong and how powerful he is, and then he's completely helpless, right?
Yeah.
So now I want to ask you, so you got home that day, and now you have the bi-level, so you technically can live on 2 levels, not to be exactly next to each other, let's say separated 6 feet apart. But now, how did you actually run your household? You were there while this was all flying in the air.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I literally had a Clorox wipe in my hand all day. I wiped down everything I touched. I wiped down everything. He was wiping down everything that he touched, but I quarantined him to one room, our bedroom. He used the upstairs bathroom. I used the downstairs bathroom. Anything that he needed, I made sure that I went to get it. So if he needed tea in the kitchen, he would just text me or call me when he's in the room if I'm downstairs, and I would come up and make him tea, get him anything he needed, constantly checking on him. But I didn't even step foot into the room. I would open the door with the Clorox wipe, check on him, and then go out and get what he needed, and then leave it for him by the door on the dresser so that he could get up and grab it. So like literally he was just getting up to go to the bathroom. He was so sick, he couldn't do anything more than that anyway. So he started to come to on day 3. Like he was getting up more. He came out into the kitchen at one point. We stayed as far away as possible. Made sure that the dogs, stayed away, and he's not touching the dogs and touching everything else. I went through the entire house and cleaned it like a mad woman.
Yes.
So I went through everything and lit down to every single knob in the kitchen and everything, and wiped everything down. The amazing thing is that I did not get sick.
Yes. Exactly.
I would like to think that, I have been in the health and fitness industry for so long, but I take it very seriously myself. I would like to think that I have been prepping for something like this. Like my immune system is very good. I know it is. I don't get sick. I can't remember the last time I got sick, knock on wood, right? So I would like to think that I really prepped myself well. because that's the thing, is everybody waits till something bad happens to then go in and revamp themselves. And it's unfortunate, and there's no judgment, because life gets a hold of us, right? It's just how it is. But just being prepared for that, I think everyone, this is a positive thing that's come of it, is how do I prepare my body, my physiology, and my immune system? People are learning now what they need to do to better themselves, and they're really active in that.
And I try to drive this information home for everyone for the last couple of weeks doing these interviews, that it's okay, we already in it. It's not too late. We still can fix, help, do this and that. But future, we always, as coaches, we always like future oriented, right? Let's look forward. Let's just learn from this that's happening right now. Let's make this never happen again, because we'll be better prepared. Yeah. And so, but it's like fascinating for me that you were able to be so close and literally on everyday basis. So which just shows people that it's possible. Okay, if we all just follow the regulations, the advice from people who know what they're talking about, if everyone did that part, this thing would be squashed way quicker, right? Yeah. Because obviously when he realized he's sick, he wasn't going out there. And the worst case is that people sometimes spread it without knowing they're sick. Obviously that's a different story.
Exactly.
The minute you know, there's no point of you to go anywhere with small cough, with small fever. There's no point of it. And what I want to make sure that people understand is that once you have someone like that in your home, you're still okay. You can be okay. Trisha is a living proof of it.
Yes. I mean, luckily, I think part of it is he was probably had the virus before I got there. So I didn't get access to that virus because I had just gotten home at the height of the fever, right? But even so, they were saying, and with all the research that I did, just is that there's a time where you're still contagious even after the fever. So I slept in separate beds for like 10 days after the fever. We were very careful of that because I didn't want to get sick. I mean, yes, I could handle it and I would probably get through it fine, but I don't have time for that. I'm busy. Like I have so many cool opportunities going on right now with the business and with you and so much good stuff. It's like, I didn't want to be sick through this time. Exactly. So I slept in separate bedrooms and we didn't touch or anything for like 10 days after that. And that's something that I'm just so grateful for, is you don't realize your ability to touch and how much you touch each other. And when you kiss in the morning and like how much that just fills your cup, when you don't have it, it's like, oh my God.
Everything. Yeah. I bring this up because it's a crazy story. Like when this whole thing started and I just lost the job a month ago. And, first weekend, they just started shutting salons here. And I went for my nails like literally that day when they were shutting them down. So technically people were already out there, And that weekend I went out for a walk, which I try to do every single day. And the tree started to bloom, and I'm a little bit allergic to pollen and stuff. So I came home and I literally started developing symptoms like coughing like crazy, throat tickle. And I'm like,
oh my God, I know.
You just hear about stories and you get these things in human. And a month, obviously, there was nothing. There was just a one-time thing, but it was in my head. And so many people go through it. But there are guidelines we have to follow, so that's the fever, that's the cough, if it's persisting, if it's there, go and check yourself out. But if I would just ask you, because that would be very helpful for people. So what does the doctor actually advise a patient who has it? What do they tell them to do? Because there is certain things.
She told me that there was another really strong virus called the rhinovirus going around. So it certainly could have been that. One of the questions that I asked was, because my best friend is an anesthesiologist. She's working in the Children's Hospital in DC. God bless her. But I called her as well and got some info. At their hospital there, they only test for it if it's over 100.4 or 100.8 degrees, if your temperature is more than that. And then here at the hospitals here, I think it was one or the other. I can't remember which one was which. So I knew that if we were going to go in, it would be a waste to go in if his temperature wasn't over that. So that was a good to know. So we're not taking him out of the house and exposing him to the car and like everybody else, if they're really not going to test him. Ivan, who was our sales guy, he was extremely ill, but he got it two days before Ben. And so by the time he was going out of it, we knew exactly what to expect because he was telling us. He did go to get checked out, but they would not test him because he didn't have symptoms. So we were just all trying to do our best. But she also said that melatonin, vitamin D, and vitamin C, once you feel like you are going to get sick, can be very beneficial. She
I
also,
believe zinc as well, right?
and zinc, yes. And she also said that she gave me kind of the layout of what it might feel like. She said a lot of her clients didn't necessarily have a cough, but had a massive headache, which is what Ben had. But she said that as you go, it's like levels. So you get sick, you get a fever, and then once your fever wears off, then it goes into the stage of you start to lose your sense of smell.
Oh,
Right? Was it sense of smell or sense of taste?
I don't know.
Remember. And then after that, a couple days after that, you start to get this metallic taste in your mouth.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
And she said she was getting a lot of feedback on that from the clients that she had seen, was that metallic taste in their mouth.
Right.
But granted, asthma, not asthma or any other symptoms like you had with pollen, they bring a lot of the same symptoms. So a lot of the times it's like you don't know what that's coming from.
And also it's mental, like I basically 4 weeks ago, I tried to completely separate myself from the negative news, basically not from the negative news, from news, because the news just giving you the truth situation can totally, crush you. Like, well, I never forget this one morning, something popped on my screen. It wasn't voluntary me wanting to watch it. There was a scene from a New York hospital. It was like from a horror movie about some pandemic in the past. And I'm like, oh my God, that picture was imprinted in my brain cells for hours that day. So imagine if people consume that type of knowledge all day long.
Really important to eliminate it. It's important to set a timer on it. It's important to only do it,
but not to overdo it. Yeah. So Trisha, so now, like we said, he's great. He's doing well. So how long this whole thing lasted for him? And then mind you, again, as a caveat, he is a healthy man, very strong, very, taking amazing care of his body. He's young, he's eating well, and so on.
It was like 3 days of being like bedridden, 1 day of still feeling sick, but just kind of getting around. He tried to do a run on the 5th day and he was so tanked he couldn't. He tried it, but he was just, it wore him out. I remember on the 5th or 6th day after it, or I guess on the 5th or 6th day of him knowing that he was sick, he would still get on like a Zoom call with his clients and he would get off and have to go take a nap. Like it totally wiped him out. Like he was feeling better, but he still just, his energy was so deeply low. So probably about 7 total days, 8 on the 8th, 9th day, starting to feel like normal again, I'd say.
Yeah. There is no one rule of symptoms for another person. There's people going through such harsh times, as we know, that they need ventilators. They cannot get out of hospitals for intensive care. And there are people who go through milder cases. I've even read that it's related to a blood type. Depending on what blood type you have, you're more prone to certain cases. But what I want to say is that regardless what it is, there are so those guidelines, right? Like the vitamins that still will help you out, like people say Tylenol, people say vitamin C, D, zinc, whatnot. This girlfriend that I know, the whole family of hers got this in New York City. Again, she works in the gyms. The husband is a police officer, and both of them and the baby, 2-year-old baby, got sick. Wow. They got better, but they already 3 weeks into it, and they still feeling the effect. So everyone gets it differently. But the good news is I hear only positive stories. So I know another person that got it with the partner and they good and they went through it and they okay. So guys, we gotta look for the positivity, for the optimistic news, for everything that we can get out of it, and learn, just follow the guidelines. You'll be okay, right?
And that's also like, understand that when we are in crisis, that this is training for other crises that happen down the road. So how you handle it now is likely how you will handle it in the future. So if you can handle it better now, you're going to train yourself to be able to handle situations better in the future. I think that's something really important.
100%. That came from our call with our mentor and coach on the weekend. However, what I want to bring up, it's also important. I feel like this is like this testing ground. This is like this training ground for the children, for kids who are in schools these days. Because I always say it, maybe, just maybe, because I went through some real shit back in Poland, like, you know, martial law, stores
Yeah.
closed, everything was. I went through some drama, and when I talk to my friends who went through the same thing, we are experiencing this differently than my American friends whose freedoms were never taken up from them. Like, I remember when this whole thing started and my girlfriends would worry, oh, I cannot go to restaurants, I can go get my nails done. What do you mean I cannot go out and to the club? Like, that was a problem. So now they slowly starting adjust and everything. So Trisha, I want to thank you so very much for sharing. This is a topic that, you know, not everyone wants to go public with. I appreciate you for that, honoring this, and honestly, it's important for people to know. If anyone would have questions for you regarding that, I'm sure you gladly answer them.
Absolutely.
You know, in the thread of this. I want to say thank you very much. Please stay safe and healthy, and we will be, you know, catching up in our projects together, right?
Yes, I know. I love it. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to chat.
Let's rock and roll, my love. Ciao.
Ciao.